I would like to call the school board meeting for Tuesday, January 7th, 2025 for the Des Moines Public Schools to order. It's wonderful to see all of you this evening. It's very chilly, and so thanks for making the trip out. Ms. Rios, could you please take the roll?
Yes. Ms. Alonso? Here. Ms. Campos?
Present.
Mr. Dix?
Here.
Ms. Knox?
Here.
Ms. Martorana? Mr. Mayberry Mays?
Here.
Ms. Norris?
Here.
We have quorum.
The first item of business is approval of the agenda with a friendly amendment to move the exempt session to after the work session. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
Dix, so moved.
Alonso, second.
We have a motion by Mr. Dix and a second by Ms. Alonso. Is there any discussion or questions? Board members, please cast your votes. The vote is approved 6-0. Next on the agenda is the public forum.
We provide speakers at the forum an opportunity to address the board for up to 3 minutes regarding items that are not on the board agenda and up to 5 minutes for an agenda item. If anyone wishes to speak during any portion of the business meeting, please email rosa.rios@dmschools.org. The same speaking protocols apply to all individuals who wish to address the board. Speakers will be called individually, and we ask that they state their name and address prior to providing comments. Students and minors do not have to provide their addresses. Guests of the board are encouraged to speak to matters relating to the programs, services, and operations of DMPS. Please remember that Iowa law prohibits us from discussing specific employees or their job performance. We ask all speakers to avoid references to personalities or character attacks, as those types of comments do not contribute to the purpose for which this public forum exists. The use of inappropriate language will not be tolerated, and individuals choosing to do so will be gavelled out of order and asked to excuse themselves from the premises or escorted out by district security. As a reminder to the board and public, the board will not engage in a discussion with public forum speakers, as it is our obligation to discuss only matters posted in the public agenda for the sake of transparency and the opportunity afforded to all community stakeholders. Matters requiring attention will receive appropriate staff and/or board follow-up at a time after the meeting. Thank you for your participation. We appreciate your feedback and your input. Ms. Rios, do we have any speakers?
Yes, we do. First up, I'd like to call Tim Glaza.
Good evening. My name is Tim Glaza, and I live at 4334 Grand Avenue in Des Moines. And I'm a member of Iowa CCI, which stands for Citizens for Community Improvement. And we're a grassroots organization that's been fighting for social, economic, and environmental justice since 1975. And I want to thank the Des Moines School Board for reaffirming the sanctuary resolution and for your commitment to protecting all of our students, no matter where they come from or what they look like. As the largest and most diverse district in the state, you are a leader, and I admire you for taking a position. And I also want to lift up Public School Strong. Public School Strong is a statewide grassroots movement that CCI launched last year. Our goal is to win honest, equitable, and fully funded public education. To accomplish that goal, we are inviting Iowans to start showing up to their school board meetings more regularly, to listen and learn about what is happening to our public schools, build relationships with school board members, and to develop more community leaders. We have 325 school districts in Iowa, and they are all under attack from the Reynolds administration, out-of-state billionaires like Betsy DeVos, a web of corporate-backed think tanks like the Heritage Foundation, Americans for Prosperity, and Moms for Liberty. These corporate interests and lobbyists have captured and control our state legislature. They are undermining our public schools through schemes like vouchers. Private school vouchers are expanding across Iowa. This year, we funneled around $200 million of public money to private schools with no accountability, and the program could double in just a few years. One of our legislators, Dean Fisher, is starting his own private religious school in Tama County, and they plan to use our public money through vouchers to pay the bulk of their costs. This money should be going to our public schools, not to some Christian nationalist school. If they want to start a private school, they need to pay for it, not us. Private schools discriminate, they pick and choose who they want. Public schools are open to all kids. Our public schools also have elected boards with open meetings and financials. Private schools are closed meetings and financials. Iowans deserve a right to know how their public dollars are being spent. And we launched Public School Strong because we love public education. Public education has made our society far more equal, democratic, and prosperous.
30 seconds remaining.
We believe all of us have a role to play in supporting our public schools because we all benefit when they are strong and thriving. If you want to work with us to win fully funded public education, please join Public School Strong. And to join, you can visit iowacci.org/PSS, and we have an orientation coming up on January 28th. Thanks so much, and I included a few flyers at the table here if people want more information.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Mary Ann Koch.
Good evening. I'm Mary Ann Koch. I live at 2909 Woodland Avenue, which is about a couple blocks away from here. I moved to Des Moines about 40 years ago as an I moved to Des Moines after about 40 years as an educator in private, public, and schools, and also in community college. I joined Public Schools Strong because I'm very worried about how our public state funds are being used for private schools through this voucher system. Those private schools have little, if any, accountability or oversight. This is not right. Yet they are draining funds from public schools that belong to the public schools. I would like to pick up a word from Tim's presentation. He used the word equitable when he said, "Our goal is to have honest, equitable, and fully funded public education." And equitable education means that each student receives not the same thing, but what they need in particular for their own education. This is addressed in the many needs that our students have. Private schools don't have to provide that. They get by without taking care of the students, each of the different needs that students have, especially those with what we call special needs. And so our students suffer from that. And this is not right. Another concern that I have is that the vouchers continue as they get less money goes to public education for teachers and administrators, as well as for such things as the arts, counselors, and social workers, which some think are kind of superficial and get pushed away. However, they are essential to our students' needs. Public school monies will be getting stretched thinner and thinner as students get cheated by not receiving a well-rounded education. These are troubling, messy, and threatening times that our children are living in, while our school counselors are being split between 2 or 3 schools. Students need help navigating the stresses of childhood, while school counselors may be the only ones addressing these needs in their tender lives. Students suffer today, but ultimately our states and our nation will also suffer the results of education that is not up to what our students need. And this is not right. These are just a few of my concerns, and I thank you for giving me a chance to share them with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Cherie Mortiz.
You're going to detect a theme in our presentations tonight. My name is Sheree Mortiz. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak tonight. Board members, the Des Moines public, our students, parents, teachers, and administrators of Des Moines Public Schools. My name is Sheree Mortiz. I am a retired Des Moines Public School teacher, and I live on the east side of Des Moines. I joined Des Moines Public School Strong initially over the voucher issue that's been imposed, but Des Moines Public School is about a lot more than that. Tonight, we're going to be talking a lot about vouchers, but I'm sure you're going to be seeing us, around some of our other shared concerns as we move forward. Des Moines Public School is about building strength and collaboration to defend our students, teachers, and administrators against the backdrop of destructive policies from the current state administration. It seems clear that the goal is to defund and dismantle our public schools. I've just not seen much in the way of compromise. It would be great if I'm wrong, and I would love for you to share anything that you've seen on the Hill that would indicate areas where there is room for compromise. But they are in fact going to expand vouchers to the wealthiest families. Private and charter schools raised their tuition when the voucher bill was passed. That effectively made it impossible for the same poor families to be able to afford financing tuition. That was greedy and mean-spirited. Instead, the wealthiest families will be allowed to extract money from the cookie jar. It is incumbent on all of us to defend and protect our public schools because they are a primary pillar of democracy. And our schools are big assets to our neighborhoods that attract people to buy property and set up households among us. But the uncompromising approach used to roll out the implementation of vouchers is already impacting Des Moines Public Schools and certainly smaller districts. Our Des Moines Public School parents and guardians need to understand that the current state administration is giving tax dollars to private religious schools and charter schools, who can then spend this money with no financial oversight or academic accountability. As has been proven in Arizona, the opportunity for theft and fraud is far and wide. That is unfair to taxpayers, and it is unfair to our administrators and teachers in public schools that are being held to a higher standard. I also have grave concerns for our immigrant students and their families who are living in fear with so much uncertainty. Des Moines Public School Strong applauds this board and superintendent for your expressed concerns and report that you are working on collaborations to support our families and students impacted by the threat of deportation. Our immigrant families contribute so much to our communities and workforce. They pay property, income, and sales tax like the rest of us. They are woven into the sustainability and resiliency of our schools and neighborhoods. Like Hispanic families across the city, my Hispanic neighbors are worth fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dr. Pam Vogel.
I am Pam Vogel. I live at 2430 Terrace Road here in Des Moines. Dear Roberts and members of the board, I'm a product of public education. I made my career in this field when I became a special education teacher, starting with my student teaching at Ruby Van Meter and Hillis schools. After some years of teaching, I became a school administrator, and I was a superintendent in Iowa and then in Connecticut. In 2020, I came back to Des Moines and filled in as a special education consultant for Heartland AEA schools. In recent years, I have watched in disbelief as public education was being attacked. Elected officials said the implementation of a taxpayer-funded school voucher program would be a great equalizer for educational access and a way to empower parents and give all families school choice. We have had school choice in our state, a choice between public and private, and a choice between which public school one could attend through open enrollment. The voucher program has not been a great equalizer. Most private schools do not accept students with special needs. And for regions of Iowa with no private schools, this is not an equalizer. And has now become a tax rebate for families whose children already attended private schools, and is a new source of income for private schools, most of which have increased their tuition across the board. And then there is accountability. There is nearly nothing that private schools need to disclose. They do not need to share to any member of the public who they accept, who do they not accept, test scores for any group of students, or adhere to any curriculum. In Iowa, the cost of the private school voucher program was first estimated to cost $109.6 million, but the program needed $128 million more before the end of the first year, 20% over budget. In year 2, this school year, the voucher program estimated costing the state $132.3 million, but the legislature raised the allocation to $179.2 million, 35% over budget. The state estimated that year 4 will cost $365 million annually, costing the state $1 billion in the program's first 4 years. I expect I'm stating information that the board and the school administration already know. This information is shared in the hope that more members of the public can understand the overwhelming blow that funding private school vouchers is making to public schools. And in the past year, we watched as extreme cuts were made to the area education agencies designed to provide services to all schools and teachers, and we are watching these disappear. It's always a good thing for schools to plan for continuous improvement, as Des Moines is doing. We should always be reimagining education, but no school wants to be planning for cutting and reducing because of vouchers. It is the hope of all of us who want to see high-quality public education remain in Iowa that we draw attention to this problem, because if nothing changes, the well will run dry, and the money public schools need to educate all students, all races, all ethnicities, all students with special needs will instead be financing private schools with no accountability to the public. Our goal is to address this huge problem and for us to work together to fight for change. We thank you for the time you've given us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last call for speakers. Those are all the speakers.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is our district recognitions. Superintendent Roberts, are there any recognitions for today?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year, and thank you all for being here. This evening, we have 2 district recognitions. But Madam Chair and Board, indulge me for a few seconds as I certainly also recognize our public schools' strong contingent. You have shown up at every single board meeting championing the importance of public schools. And while we may not say it often, we are grateful for your continued advocacy. The first Department of Education in this country, and this is appropriate because of a national event occurring today. In 1867, Andrew Jackson was the first United States president who created a Department of Education, but it was primarily focused on looking at statistics and gathering information about the nation's schools. It was not until 1979 when the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, decided that if we were going to regain the preeminence as a country in our education system, we needed to provide federal government support to our public schools. And he created the first U.S. Department of Education, which was focused primarily on some of what you talked about this evening: equity, enforcing Title IX, and ensuring that there was equity around policy and practices for public schools. And so your advocacy for the nation's public schools, and certainly for the Des Moines public schools, is one that is anchored in a very rich history of supporting us, and for that we thank you. There are 2 district recognitions I want to bring forth to the team this evening. And while we do not have an in-person recognition, the first recognition, and really worthy of mention, is for our very own Lynn Wilson. You know, after speaking with Lynn for a few minutes or taking a look at the work that she does and its impact, you will realize that she is an outstanding DMPS employee for 15 plus years, an excellent teammate, but more importantly, a fantastic human being. In her current role as the liaison for homeless, migrant education, and foundational services, she works tirelessly to ensure that migrant, homeless, and other students in need of food, clothing, and other supplies have access to them. Lynn was also instrumental in ensuring that every single school in the school system had a pantry, and she also was a critical part of creating our dental services that is now within Des Moines Public Schools. You know, Lynn continues every single day to ensure that students and their families have access to fresh food and groceries through our food pantries. See? And, you know, as a testament to her impact, in 2024, she was able to secure a donation of 1,000 pair of shoes for students who are homeless. In addition to our recognition of Lynn Wilson this evening, the world-renowned newspaper, the Des Moines Register, did a very nice feature and recognized Lynn as one of the top 15 people to watch in 2025. Lynn, we are so proud of you. The second recognition is... As a district, and again, this really harkens back to the conversation about equity, this board, superintendent, and administration, we continue to disrupt systems of inequities that are large and small, but all of which gets in the way of providing all of our students with equitable access to resources. Our recent press release about DMPS on the Go is the launch of a new initiative that provides Wi-Fi service on all 126 school buses in this district. The service is designed to enhance students' access to the internet, thereby allowing them to make more productive use of their travel time, whether they're heading to or from school, to games, or to after-school events. More than 14,000 Des Moines Public School students ride a school bus at some point during the school day, and now all of them will have access to the internet and to Wi-Fi. Our Chief Information Officer, Neil Schroeder, highlighted the transformative impact of technology in pre-K-12 education when he stated that technology is at the heart of modern education. By providing Wi-Fi access on our buses, we are enabling students to stay connected, complete assignments, and enhance their learning experiences even while on the move. A tremendous thanks to our IT team and our transportation teams and their leaders, Neil Schroeder and Samantha Sonicson. Madam Chair, that concludes my recognition this evening.
Thank you, and I appreciate the Public School Strong invitation to people to come to our meetings. They are tintillating, and also can be found on Facebook Live if you are not able to come here in person. So thank you for that. We are now going to move to the consent agenda. As a reminder to the board and public, the board will not engage in discussion or deliberation with a speaker regarding comments made to agenda items. Discussion and deliberation will remain among board members at the board table with speakers' comments informing the board's discussion, deliberation, and determinations as deemed necessary. Ms. Rios, do we have any speakers?
No speakers.
Ms. Alonso, I believe you have the consent motion.
Yes, I move that the board approve the consent items in accordance with the recommended action for each item on the consent agenda, including bills previously authorized, certified, and approved for payment by the board secretary in the amount of $9,208,524.09.
Is there a second?
Dick, second.
We have a motion by Ms. Alonso and a second by Mr. Dix. Is there any discussion, or does anyone have questions? Board members, please cast your votes. Ms. Alonso. The vote is approved 6-0. Next on the agenda are our public hearings. First item is E1, public hearing for B9287 Hoover High School concession stand and locker room improvements. The public hearing will come to order. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this item? Hearing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Superintendent Roberts, would you please introduce the matter?
Certainly, Madam Chair. I recommend that the board review the proposed plans and specifications prepared by BBS Architects and engineers for a gymnasium concession stand and locker room upgrades at Hoover High School, hold a public hearing, and approve the plans.
May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
Alonso so moved.
Knox second.
We have a motion by Alonso and a second by Knox. Is there any discussion or does anyone have questions? Board members, please cast your votes. The vote is approved, 6-0. Next item is E2, public hearing for B9271 Hoover High School chiller replacement installation. The public hearing will come to order. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this item? Hearing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Superintendent Roberts, would you please introduce the matter?
Certainly, Madam Chair. I recommend the board review the proposed plans and specifications prepared by BBS architects and engineers for chiller installation at Hoover High School, hold a public hearing, and approve the plan.
May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
Motion Campos.
Second Knox.
We have a motion by Ms. Campos and a second by Ms. Knox. Is there any discussion or questions? Board members, please cast your votes. The vote is approved, 6-0. Next item on the agenda is E3, public hearing for B9290 Roosevelt High School Gymnasium concession stand storage. The public hearing will come to order. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this item? Hearing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Superintendent Roberts, would you please introduce the matter?
Yes, Madam Chair. I recommend the board review the proposed plans and specifications prepared by Studio Melee for gymnasium concession stand upgrades at Roosevelt High School, hold a public hearing, and approve the plans.
May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
Move Mayberry Mays.
Alonso second.
We have a motion by Dr. Mayberry Mays and a second by Ms. Alonso. Is there any questions? Are there any questions? Board members, please cast your votes. The vote is approved, 6-0. Now we have our other business. First item is F1, Request to School Budget Review Committee, otherwise known as the SBRC, for maximum funding for dropout prevention. Superintendent Roberts, would you please introduce the matter?
Certainly, Madam Chair. I recommend the board approve the maximum request for modified supplemental amount for fiscal year 2025-2026 dropout prevention program for expenditures necessary to implement the 2025-26 at-risk and dropout prevention plans. The total budget proposal of $16,156,165 is comprised of $12,117,124 for modified supplemental amount and supplemental aid of $4,039,041 as a required match from district general funds.
May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
Second Mayberry Mays.
We have a motion by Mr. Dix and a second by Dr. Mayberry Mays. Are there any questions? Board members, please cast your votes. The vote is approved, 6-0. Next item is F2, Personnel Recommendation, to receive, file, and take action. Superintendent Roberts, will you please introduce the matter?
Thanks, Madam Chair. I recommend that the board receive, file, and approve the termination of the contract for reasons stated forth in the superintendent's notice.
May I have a motion and a second to approve this item? We have a motion by Ms. Alonso and a second by Ms. Knox. Are there any questions? Board members, please cast your votes. The vote is approved, 6-0. Next, we move to items of privilege. I would like to ask if our board members have anything that they would like to share.
Madam Chair, just one thing. Want to make sure everybody's aware of the Roosevelt High School Revelation Show Choir and Band January Jive, January 10th at 6 p.m. in the Cloris Leachman Auditorium.
Thank you.
I'm trying. Okay, I would love to remind and invite everyone to attend the DMPS Foundation dinner It is on Thursday, February 13th at the Junior Ballroom at the Iowa Event Center. And this year we have 30,801 good reasons for you to attend. That is the certified enrollment of Des Moines Public Schools. It's going to be a wonderful evening. Our very own Dr. Roberts will be speaking and sharing a little bit from the from the state of the schools. It'll be a celebration of the state of the schools, featuring our wonderful students. And I did want to take a brief minute just to shout out those sponsors that we already have secured, if that's okay. So we want to say thank you to Broadlawns Medical Center, Strategic America, Rob and Christine Sand, Turner Construction, McGow Construction, DLR Group, IMG, Windstar Lines, Jester Insurance, Prairie Meadows, Nat Properties, Atlantic Bottling Co., DMEA, Lafredo Fresh Foods, DMAC, Angelo Architects, and Dr. Mary Chapman. We have several table sponsors as well. I will not read them all, but you can still add your name to that list and become a sponsor or grab a table or buy a ticket. Learn more on the foundation website.
I just want to say, wow. Seriously, Jenna, this started 2 years ago with a welcome for Dr. Roberts, right, as a gala, and that list was pretty amazing. So thank you for all you're doing for our young people. So people are aware, this fund is actually then very supportive of helping Dr. Roberts accomplish his agenda, and just so appreciative and grateful for all you do.
Well, it's certainly a team effort, and so I do not take all credit for that. But it all goes to help our students and our teachers be able to get their needs met in their classrooms. So all the money goes right back to DMPS.
Great, thank you. Ms. Alonso?
I like to say, en español, wow. It's wow. Thank you, Jenna. You lead with your heart, and it's a huge one. And I love it. And DMPS loves it. Thank you.
I'm going to actually now talk about something very exciting, which is pre-K. We have talked a lot about pre-K. We've looked at research about pre-K and the success that it has on our young people. And I want to ask everybody, our board members, our audience, to advocate up on the Hill for us, because this movement has taken years. It started with Mayor Bozen and Terry Caldwell Johnson, and probably there were others that started this fight a long time ago to advance a pre-K agenda because they knew the impact it had on literacy and math. And I'm so excited to be part of a group, Capital Crossroads, that is continuing forward movement. So I really encourage all of you to talk about pre-K when you're talking to legislators. Ask them to support it. Obviously, universal pre-K is our dream, and yet what we know is a start and a head in the right direction is supporting those kids that are eligible for free and reduced lunch across the state. So, and there are 16,000 of those human beings. So anything you can do to advocate for pre-K, we really appreciate it and feel really great about some of the early traction we seem to be getting. So thank you. And thanks, Dr. Roberts, for being such a great partner on that. Okay, thank you for joining us this evening. We really appreciate all of you. The meeting is adjourned at 6:05.
Point of order, Dr. Roberts.
Oh, hey, do you want to say anything?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I know we are looking forward to moving speedily along with the agenda, but just allow me to just certainly take a few minutes to express a very general note of gratitude to the 5,000 teammates who show up every single day to serve the students in Des Moines Public Schools. I know that given our current polarized political climate, there is so much trepidation and anxiety about who we are and where we're going with public education. While I claim to be many things, I do not have a crystal ball and don't know what will happen, but let me remind you about who we've been as public educators. we've experienced many major Educational Act changes, education policies. From Ronald Reagan's Nation at Risk to Bill Clinton's Goal 2000, George Bush's No Child Left Behind, Barack Obama's Every Student Succeed. And we will continue to have policy changes that will impact public education. We have a spirit of resilience. In this country, we have about 53 million children. In Des Moines Public Schools, we have about 30,000 who are knocking on our doors each and every day and expecting us to inspire them. If for whatever reason in your classrooms, during your private time or in schools, this feeling of trepidation and anxiety and uncertainty becomes overwhelming, please reach out to us. Please reach out to me, members of the Executive Cabinet, and certainly the board. We are here to support you. We can do this together. That concludes my remarks, Madam Chair.
We can do this, and thank you for holding me accountable, because that was important to say. So we are going to adjourn at 6:08. The board is going to move into an open work session to discuss the vision and mission, followed by an exempt session, and then a closed session on personnel. And board members, we're just going to roll right into vision and mission, if everybody's okay with that. Okay, so does everybody have at their fingertips the mission and vision statements that were shared?
No, but we saw it.
Okay, right. Do you? Okay, we can share if people need to share. So I thought I'd just take you through a little journey of how we got to this point. I think we would all agree we're well past delayed to be a part of this, to get this done. And the goal is to complete this tonight. And I want to thank Dr. Roberts and Ms. Alonso, who've been part of the process. Here's where we started. Actually, it was on July 9th. And we all came together. You may remember we had that scare, and we ended up somewhere else. I forget where we actually ended up. But we sat as a group and brainstormed and really talked about what it is we wanted in a vision and a mission. We gave some broad and general guidance to Dr. Roberts, and I'm so excited because we're going to hear the strategic plan presentation next week.
That's correct.
And all of these things are going to fit together really nicely. The vision, as a reminder, is the aspirational statement of what you want to achieve in the long term. And I want to read some of the things that we said, because what's really important is that you feel like your vision ideas are reflected in the vision statement. So here were the things we heard. Educating our students for the challenges of today and tomorrow. Our students succeed and transform the future. Empowering every student to reach their fullest potential through dynamic learning, cultivating lifelong learners ready for fulfilling careers in a rapidly evolving world. All students will graduate with the skills and dispositions necessary to maximize their potential as contributing members of a global society. Students are passionate, empowered, and prepared for the world and their future, empowering all students to succeed in an ever-changing world. So those were the themes that we heard. We heard a lot about all, that word, making sure that it was inclusive and accessible to all students. And so what I'd like to do is take some time now to look at the draft vision that was put together, and there's two options that we are putting forth for you to take a look at. And then we'll talk about it, and then we'll go next to the mission, and I'll read some of the things we said back in July, and then we'll talk about the mission statement, which is really focused on how you're going to actually achieve the vision. So I will read them out loud, and you can obviously see them on your screen. Ms. Alonso, it's actually up as well. So the draft vision, there are two options. One, we will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve and accomplish beyond all imagined possibilities and to have a lasting impact on our community and the world. Second option, we will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities, demonstrate the resiliency needed to navigate an ever-changing society, and leave a lasting impact on our community and world. So obviously, you can notice that really one of the biggest changes is including this point about resiliency and navigating an ever-changing world. We talked about it. It makes it longer, but that was something we heard from the board. So I think we just need to get a little feedback on, you know, should it continue to be in here, even though it gives us maybe a little bit of a longer vision statement. So would love to get some feedback and dialogue.
I think it's appropriate to have it in there. Navigating an ever-changing society, regardless if this is the vision statement for today or in the ever-changing society, it's still relevant. So I'd like to see it in there.
Yeah, I'm game keeping it in there. One thing I liked about it is with our reimagined education, that kind of ties into the ever-changing society because careers, a lot of things change within 5 years. So it's good to have that in there.
Great, I appreciate that. Are there things that you want to call out either that you like or you have concerns with? This is the time to talk about it.
Beyond all possibilities just felt a little, I get the sentiment, but maybe there's another way to express that to achieve any possibility. Beyond possibilities feels like maybe that's the wrong combination of words.
How about you give us some options?
I would say achieving all possibilities, or because that's what we're going after is the possibilities, not beyond the possibilities. I don't know. Can you go beyond the possibilities?
Well, beyond all imagined possibilities. I'm open. I mean, I think if we have other thoughts on that, we can come back to it. So
That was the only thing I was.
okay. How are we feeling? So we've got a suggestion around that terminology.
I will kind of piggyback on that a little bit, just thinking, I mean, a vision statement's supposed to be lofty, right? And so back to demonstrate resiliency, is that lofty? I don't know. I feel like when you're talking about beyond all imagined possibilities and then demonstrating something, those are kind of two different thoughts, I guess. So I like the beyond all imagined possibilities. I'm struggling a little more with, or maybe it's like an embracing or an ever-changing society. I don't know, maybe demonstrate. I'm a little hung up on demonstrate, but I like resiliency and ever-changing society. I just feel like that's more of a less visionary, more tangible. You either demonstrate or you don't.
Good feedback. Ms. Alonso?
I like Chihuahua. I like the ever-changing society because I feel like we, as a district, make a commitment. We acknowledge that things are forever changing and we stay. We are declaring our commitment to not get stuck, to continue to move forward. I'll stop there.
My last comment for this, I actually like the beyond imagined possibilities. I think we see that every day with our students. They have aspirations for a career that's trendy or popular, and it's the teachers, it's the experiences in the classrooms that are helping them to achieve these possibilities that they never imagined. So I actually liked the beyond all imagined possibilities in there.
I am going to scan the group and see if there's anything people want to say. Otherwise, I'm going to parrot back where I think we are in this. So I think there is a sentiment in support of beyond all imagined possibilities amongst the board based on head nods and what I've heard. I think the demonstrate word is a question.
Yeah, I just sent you a suggestion. Take it or
Great,
leave it.
take
But
it.
maybe like a lead with resilience, or lead with the resiliency needed to navigate an ever-changing world or society. I don't know, just maybe a little more aspirational of a word than demonstrate.
Is it fair to say that everybody is comfortable with the resiliency statement in, we just have a word tweak? Yeah, great, great. So with that, I think let's move to mission and then come back to vision. So as a reminder, the mission is really the how, right? So let's just assume what we've said is we're preparing and inspiring students to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities. They're going to be resilient and able to navigate an ever-changing society and leaving a lasting impact on our community and world. So now we look at the mission. And both of these things are supposed to be as short as possible and as memorable as possible. The mission is, how are you going to achieve it? And so I'll take you back to July of 2024. This is what we heard from our board members. We will provide an exceptional learning environment that empowers every student to succeed in life today and in the future. Guide, encourage, and support each and every learner in the quest to realize his or her full potential. Here, students and teachers are embraced in an environment where everyone is given the chance to not only thrive, but reach beyond what they thought was possible. The Des Moines Public Schools exist so that graduates possess the knowledge, skills, and abilities to be successful at the next stage of their lives. That's the current one, as a reminder. The educational program of the district should be equally available to all young people. All children have the opportunity to be educated to the full extent of their abilities and interests and individual differences. So that was the thematic of what we heard. And so with that, where we just so everybody knows, Dr. Roberts, Maria, and I think it was Maria was a part of that first conversation. You'll see the draft mission and then the revised. We gave some feedback because I think we were not comfortable with the draft mission. So we're looking at the revised draft mission, and I'll read the two options and then we'll discuss them. DMPS cultivates the possibility and potential for each student to explore their own pathway to learning success. Second one, with the enthusiastic support and partnership from our engaged community. Option 2, at DMPS, our pursuit of excellence for each student recognizes the multiple pathways available for students to cultivate their own success. I'll also point out that cultivate is a theme that is a through line to the strategic plan, just so people are aware of that.
I think there was more on that one, Jackie.
Oh, sorry. I think it's because I'm wondering why this is with the enthusiastic support and partnership from our engaged community. Is that right? That's what I missed. Thank you. So let's get some feedback on this mission statement.
I like both. I prefer one. It's tighter.
I'm wondering, do we control how enthusiastic our partners or community might be?
Yeah,
And maybe, I don't have another word, I don't know that that's something that we directly can control.
Yeah, I highlighted this piece, and I had a question for you, Dr. Roberts. I don't remember, I'm trying to think the context with which we got to this addition, the enthusiastic support and partnership from our engaged community.
Maybe it's that we will embrace partnership enthusiastically. That's the idea, is that we will bring in partnerships enthusiastically.
Partnership
for
is
the help
part
of
of the
our-
way.
yeah.
I mean, I think the context, thank you for prompting me, the context of the conversation was community partners will help us cultivate the possibility and potential for each student to explore their own pathway. I think the question is that just a strategy, and should it be called out, or is it a strategy and doesn't need to be called out?
I just think we can't do it alone. And I think it's important to point out that we need partners. we need this community to be behind us. We need everyone's help to do this. And so it's making sure that it is our mission that we are not doing it alone and that we don't think we can do it by ourselves or that we're better than, we're the only ideas that make this work.
Do you specifically like these words, or is it the intent of we can't do it alone?
I see what Maria's saying about we can't say everybody's going to be enthusiastic, right? We don't control that. But the idea there, if we can tweak it, if somebody can tweak it to we're embracing community partnerships and support.
Dr. Roberts.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so let me offer and building on Board Member Dix's suggestion that we continuously sort of sermonize that we cannot do this alone and we need community partnership. Why don't we give the statement a shot by removing the word enthusiasm? I think that qualifier is not necessarily, it doesn't really add any additional value other than it's a little bit more verbose, if you may, so but let's keep the support from community partners.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to pick apart some words. Support and partnership from our engaged community. Do we need engaged? I mean, if they're supporting us, they are engaged. So I'm going to read, I'm looking at option 1, so I want, DMPS cultivates the possibility and potential for each student to explore their own pathways to learning success with the support and partnership from our community.
Yes, I like number 1, how we just.
Ms. Alonso?
So-
Or, okay, let me read the second one. Yeah. So actually, I'm going to take it back. We still have 2 options. We've changed the last part of each mission statement. So I'm going to read now option 2. At DMPS, our pursuit of excellence for each student recognizes the multiple pathways available for students to cultivate their own success with the support and partnership from our community. So, Mr. Dix, did you say you preferred 1? Okay, let's hear from other board members.
Okay, so my Spanish brain is kicking in.
Yep.
And so
We like that.
I'm trying to, first option, explore their own pathway to learning success. So are we saying students are going to learn what success is? Or are we saying that they're going to learn successfully? What are we trying to say?
I don't want to put words in other people's mouth and how they chose to interpret it. The way I chose to interpret it, it was very much focused on education to the full extent of their abilities. And so this idea of pathways and individual pathways based on the student, I'm totally open. And I didn't write this, just so people know. We worked in partnership with CISO. So it's a great call out. What does it mean? And so I'll put everybody on the spot, our board members, and say, when you read it, how do you interpret it? And Dr. Roberts, you can do the same.
My interpretation of it was that there are different ways to learn, and it's up to the student to find out which way works best for them, rather that be through traditional instruction. Maybe it's Montessori, maybe it's, we have a large population on IEPs. I mean, there's a lot of different ways in learning. So that's how I took it, was each student explores their own way of learning success. So what's most successful for that student in learning?
So we're teaching success? They're learning success? Or they're successfully learning?
Successful, I interpret it as successfully learning.
So do we need to change that then?
May I offer that we consider the 3 words before success in the second option for the statement, and that is for students to cultivate their own success.
Yeah.
Because when we think of cultivate, we are in a constant state of adding, churning, getting better, nurturing. So students will have this opportunity. What we're essentially indicating there is that students will have an opportunity with support from community in the district to cultivate or create their own pathways for success.
So
I'm glad you called out option 2. The more I'm reading it, I actually like option 2 better. I like pursuit of excellence. And I know there's probably bigger conversations related to the strategic plan, which is why you went to a revised version. But I also think if we don't understand what the mission statement's saying, like, I mean, it's supposed to be kind of like what we do and our guidepost of how to operate. And so I think if we're questioning it, perhaps it's not right.
And I will say for option 2, when you think about what we all said, we talked about each student, all student, every student. We talked about excellence. We talked about multiple pathways. And so potentially that may be something to remember, how all of what we heard from the board. Other thoughts?
I really appreciate Dr. Mayberry Mays reminding me how rich and plentiful our educational opportunities are at Des Moines Public Schools, and I think that is something to be proud of, and that we should uplift that more and call that out, because that is something is very easy to forget about sometimes when you're up here. So thank you.
I am open to either. The thing that was important to me in this, going back to our community conversations that we have, making sure that our students are cultivating and building these multiple pathways for themselves, that they leave here as self-sustaining human beings that can get out and can contribute to the world, that they learn to do it for themselves, and that's and advocate for themselves. And I think that's what that says to me. I think that's the sort of the important sentiment there.
I like option 2 as well. I think that we had at one point mentioned wanting to use excellence somewhere in the work that we do. And I think number 2 is perfect, in my opinion.
I'm going to read where I think we are. At DMPS, our pursuit of excellence for each student recognizes the multiple pathways available for students to cultivate their own success with the support and partnership from our community. In the world of actually getting rid of words, I'm just going to ask, do we need support and partnership? Or do we need, really? I mean, aren't they this, I mean, to me, it's implied. I'm just trying to reduce words.
All right.
So let's talk about it.
Partnership for you means support.
Yeah.
Okay. Support's the word you take out.
What other people think.
Let me offer, if I made it, and I appreciate this discussion, you can certainly have a partnership that is not supportive or that is devoid of support. And so I think it's important, while we don't want to become too verbose with the statement, maybe we keep supportive partnership in there, supportive partnership, then we read it and see how it feels. Because having read it just now, Madam Chair, it seems really all-encompassing and aligns very strongly to what we believe and what we've inserted into our soon-to-be-released strategic plan. So maybe reading what that says again so we can sort of digest it and react.
Question, so are our partnerships going to be all voluntary? Because if they are, then they will be supportive. But if a partnership is forced, then maybe they won't necessarily be supportive.
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you for that, Board Member Alonso. I don't know if we want to use this activity to try to sort of assess what our partnerships will look like. But I think it's important for us to call out that we absolutely need partnerships. And some may be supportive and some may not. I think it would be incumbent upon us to decide what happens then once we have those partnerships. But I am optimistic that all of our partnerships will be supportive.
And it's aspirational. It's mission. That's our mission, is to have supportive partnerships, whether
Right.
we.
And the reason I asked that was just because we're trying to figure out if we need to keep support and partnerships together.
Support and partnership, yeah.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing is keep both words. Is that right? I'm going to read it all. At DMPS, our pursuit of excellence for each student recognizes the multiple pathways available for students to cultivate their own success with the support and partnership from our community.
In reading it one more time, just putting on the foundation hat or like the philanthropy hat as well, which we know is a priority. I mean, support and partnership also could go, we could think community partners, we could think donations, we could think sponsor. I mean, we could take that a lot of different ways as well, so.
Great. So
Love it.
we've got our mission. Now we're going to go back to our vision and see if we can address the outstanding issue. And again, as a reminder, the outstanding issue is the resiliency phrase. So we have right now, we will prepare and inspire. We went with two. We went with the second one, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. We will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities, demonstrate the resiliency needed to navigate an ever-changing society, and leave a lasting impact on our community and world. So I think there's a discussion around the introduction of the resiliency phrase. It says demonstrate the right. It feels very, I think Jenna's point is very tactile, like as opposed to visionary, thank you.
Jenna, what was your you offered a recommendation for?
Oh, lead. She said potentially lead.
Leading with resiliency to navigate an ever-changing society.
Yeah, or lead with the resiliency needed to navigate.
Okay, I need the grammar police. So it's we will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities.
Yeah, there you go.
Lead with resiliency, lead with the resiliency needed. Lead with the resiliency to navigate. Lead with the resilience needed.
Lead with the resiliency needed to navigate an ever-changing society.
I think it would be resilience, wouldn't it?
Resilience.
First, are we choosing resiliency or resilience? Because that'll determine.
Are they different? I mean, I think that's actually a question. Like resiliency.
Is there an English teacher in the house?
Yes, please. Come on.
Who's retiring over there?
If we use resiliency, we can remove needed.
Yeah.
Okay, so lead with the, say that again? Resiliency, is that what you said?
Resiliency.
Sorry.
To navigate.
Lead with the resiliency to navigate an ever-changing
There you go.
society.
There you go.
Lead with
There you go.
the resiliency to navigate an ever-changing society and leave a lasting impact on our community and our world. I'm going to read it one more time. We will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities. Lead with the resiliency needed. Lead with the resiliency to navigate an ever-changing society and leave a lasting impact on our community and world.
Yes.
Dr. Mayberry Mays.
It sounds good to me, but I will certainly defer to if there is an English teacher in the audience.
Yes.
So let me offer, if I may, board, and so both resilience and resiliency are nouns, and they're often used interchangeably. So I think what would be helpful to us is if, as we are sounding it out, as long as it's grammatically correct, we can go with either one of the two.
So let's just think, we're all going to have to know this and memorize it and say it, and so does Dr. Roberts. So I'm going to try and say it, and let's see how it goes. We will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities. Lead with the Lead with resilience to navigate an ever-changing society and leave a lasting impact on our community or world. Or, we will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities. Lead with resiliency to navigate an ever-changing society and leave a lasting impact on our community and world.
Can you read like the first
first one. We will prepare and file the DMPS-2.
I think we've taken off, I don't think haven't we taken off the first one for consideration?
Yes. Yeah. We're on 2. We're on,
Okay. So did anybody notice a difference in my use of resilience and resiliency?
I like
We could take some audience participation.
Again,
So,
they're
yeah.
nouns that are used
I know.
interchangeably.
So it's
You just
really
wanna be
about
able to-
word choice.
Yeah.
So, and flow. So how about this?
I like resilience.
I like it too.
I like
Okay,
resilience.
all right, so
That's what it is.
here we go. Now I'm going to say it.
Resiliency.
Tell me if it's okay. We will prepare and inspire every DMPS student to achieve beyond all imagined possibilities, lead with the resiliency to navigate an ever-changing society, and leave a lasting impact on our community and world.
Yes.
Okay?
That's it.
Done. I just want to tell you, we are tracking ahead of time. So I think, just to say out loud, the next step, so this is like the perfect finalization for us to hand back to Dr. Roberts to put together with the strategic plan, which we'll be hearing about next week.
That is correct. Madam Chair, let me offer as a point of information, we have a communications and strategic planning team that are sitting waiting in the wings to just grab the finalized statements to insert it tonight, that it goes to press at some point tomorrow morning. So they are certainly applauding you from a distance.
Thank you for not telling people ahead of time that that was our goal, because then everyone
No
would have
pressure,
felt
yeah.
too much pressure.
Point of order, sorry, to go back to the mission, option 2, I know we had agreed on one. Before we approve it, do we need to put a comma before with?
Okay, let's actually, are you on mission?
Yes,
Vision.
it's the one we agreed upon, but
On mission or vision?
mission.
Okay.
Mission.
So on mission, we've got at DMPS, comma, our pursuit of excellence for each student recognizes the multiple pathways available for students to cultivate their own success with the support and partnership from our community. Would the comma, are you saying, where would the comma be, after success?
Yeah, maybe it's an Oxford comma, but yes.
Oh, Lordy, are we going to start debating the Oxford comma?
The comms team is going to look at this first.
Okay,
but-
deal. How about that?
Yep.
Can we turn it over to the experts
Yes, you can.
on the Oxford comma? Phil, got it? Okay.
Edit for
So,
punctuation.
yes. So the question is, I guess I need to turn to Ms. Rios and ask a question. We can, I can look around the room and make sure that there is consensus and support for this, and then put it on the consent agenda item for the next board meeting, which will be the 21st, as long as there is agreement that we are comfortable moving forward with these words. So I'm going to look around. I'm just going to ask everybody to say yes.
Yes.
Are you comfortable with the vision and mission?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Roberts? Yes. Okay. All right. Done. Thank you.
Good job, team.
Good job. It's only been going on since July. All right. So we are now going to move into an exempt session. And before I entertain a motion to recess, I'm going to suggest we take a 5-minute break. And then we'll come back, and then I'll make a motion to recess. Does that work for everybody? So, quick. 5-minute break? Good? Do you want to let Miriam know we're ready? Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. And hey, there's food if you guys want to grab a salad now.